Forget all of the artifacts from Google Maps. This is how far we've come from Maine, our house, to where we are now. And this is a close-up from where we got off the boat in Newfoundland to where we currently are. Campfire fail. We tried to use some local wood that was just laying around here. It looked dry, but we've had so much rain here that even though it's smoldered on the outside, it's too wet to catch. And we had it going pretty good, blowing on it, but the minute you start letting the air stop hitting it, it just dies on you. So, poor Joyce, no fire.
I know, but that's okay. You tried. My God, you tried.
We'll have to buy some wood at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thing is, the places we boondock usually don't have fire rings. This was a municipal camping area, free but not exactly boondocking, not exactly just public land that you can go on anywhere. So we often don't have campfires for that reason. And if they don't have a fire ring, you just don't light a campfire on the ground for nothing. Oh well, next time. And now, full disclosure, we had a full, unopened jar of Ragu spaghetti sauce in the upper cabinet. During our bouncing, somehow the cover came off, it spilled over. The Ragu fell through a small hole that I run wires through to charge the fans, and it ended up all over one end of the bed on one corner. The puff, the blanket, the upper sheet, the fitted sheet, all turned Italian all at once. So this is where we ended up. It's a long day at the laundromat and with the Ragu sauce. So we got lazy. We bought a chicken, here a corn, a little cheese, and a tomato. And that'll do.
Yep, that'll do just fine.
And we have washed sheets that the bed needs to be made up. We're at Hubbard Arms South Day Park. We came up this road and we swung around this little field and we found a fairly flat spot right there. Now we're going to take a walk across, believe it or not, a playground to an observation platform to see what's up there. There's a little gazebo with a picnic table. I think this is maintained by the town and by people in the area or something. Probably for some land donated, hence the name Hubbard Farm. Although I don't know for sure. And someone has painted a picture of the water area. And it looks like if you wanted to walk way up there, there's a little privy. Well, we're at Grossmoens National Park.
Yeah.
This is Berry Hill Campground. It's a
Yes.
national park campground. It's very nice.
Yes.
Very enclosed by trees, so there's no views here. I'm sure there is someplace. We certainly passed a lot of views coming in.
Mm.
And we stopped at a grocery store and picked up a couple salads. I've got like a chicken Caesar, and what is yours? You're chewing.
Mm-hmm. A crab salad.
Oh, that sounds good. And you have some bread, which I don't eat, and we got a little bit of cheese to cut up. Go with that and a Coke.
Yep.
So this is a place for the night, and then tomorrow. This is really not the entrance of the park, but not very far into it, and it's the national park here on Newfoundland, and highly recommend it. Everybody says, make sure you go there, which we are, and we'll start touring the park tomorrow. We spent some time stopping to pick up a few things and so forth today, so it was only a couple-hour trip here. And what we'll do is we're probably going to stop a few places within the park and stay in it a while before we go out of it, because this is kind of like one of the highlights of the trip. It's supposed to be anyway. So we're gonna see some stuff.
Said.
Yeah,
that's what they said.
So we'll sleep here tonight. It's later in the afternoon.
Yeah.
What time you got?
I've got 2:50.
It's almost about mid-afternoon, and we'll stay here tonight, and we will take off in the morning before 11 o'clock.
Yes, that's when check out.
Yeah.
Yes.
We like to have a fire, and it's certainly going to be cool enough tonight for one, but the wood here is $12 for a bundle, about that big. And of course, you can't bring your own. Normally, we would if we were within our own state. And it's nice to have a fire, but we move from one day to the other, and it's okay if we don't. We've sat by so many fires.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Later.
Later.
We're at the Grossmoens Discovery Center at Woody Point. And Joyce is having a brownie, and we're both having a cup of coffee at their visitor center and cafe. So Joyce, what do you think?
It's good. Yeah.
We kind of traveled an extra hour to come back around the bay and come up this area. The visitor center, or the Discovery Center, is very nice. The town is not what we thought it was going to be, but I'm glad we made the trip.
Yes.
You only come this way once, I think. Yeah. After a little bit of a hike, we come across this boardwalk and this beautiful beach on Shallow Bay.
Well, I guess this does go to the seaside.
Well, we're getting further and further north into Newfoundland, and we're at the north end of Grossmoen Park, National Park. So we're running into fewer and fewer towns, and the ones we do go through that we think might be bigger are not. So stopping at grocery stores and such is becoming more of an issue. So this is why we brought a lot of pantry stuff. So let me show you what's on the menu for tonight. We have Bush's famous baked beans. I made some fried potatoes with onion. And no, this is not Spam. It is a canned ham that I opened and cut some of it up. That, along with some onions and vinegar for me and some bread for Joyce, and you should do pretty good. We've traveled all over the country, all the 48 lower 48 states, and some of Canada, and of course right now we're in Newfoundland, Canada, and we've seen a lot of stuff, and there's some beautiful areas of both countries, as you're seeing in some of these videos. I taught science most of my adult life, and it wasn't any particular area of science. I was more of a general science teacher, so I have a smattering of knowledge in all of the sciences, or a lot of the sciences. Sort of a jack of all sciences, but master of none, I guess. And of course, I became a science teacher because I've been doing it since I was a little kid. Always interested, always working with it. I was a real nerd. And I'm never at a loss to be in awe at what I see right now. I'm looking over the ocean. I'm looking at these cliffs and hills, and it's just awesome, I guess. But having been a science teacher, I also have a kind of understanding of it, I think, and not just an understanding, but an understanding of how it all fits together. For example, let me see here. Okay, this rock. I know what this rock is made of. I know where it came from. I know how it got here at this place. And I know what's in store for it down the road. I know where it's going. And it's something that well, great line in one of the first Indiana Jones movies. Science is the search for truth, not facts. A lot of people think that science is just made up a bunch of facts, and part of it has to do with the science teachers. They just throw facts at you. But the reality is that scientists take facts that they know, either from experimentation or from seeing them firsthand, variety of ways, and then they put them together in a theory. And after those facts repeat themselves over and over again, and then sort of prove themselves to always be true, then it becomes a truth. And truths are modifiable. Sometimes the truth is not all absolute, but the basis of it usually is. A long time ago, it wasn't like that. The earth was flat. The earth was the center of the universe, etc. It's usually driven by religion or superstition. And that's all fine for the day, but it's not based on facts, and it never becomes truth. Also, this leaf. Truly, truly amazing piece of evolutionary work. You all know that plants are the basis of the food chain. Everyone knows that. But few people stop to think and realize really how important that is. For example, we eat plants and we eat animals. For all practical purposes, plants eat nothing and they make this. Now, the reality is they do eat something. They eat air and water. And that's really it. Some people think plants eat dirt, and that's not true. Dirt is like vitamins. If plants eat dirt, the forest land would disappear after a while, but they don't. You can't live on vitamins. Vitamins just help what you do eat rearrange itself properly so you can use it. The same thing with minerals in the soil. A leaf, of course, is green because it has lots of chlorophyll in it. And chlorophyll, of course, uses sunlight in order to turn something into food for the plant. And those things that it turns into food are carbon dioxide and water. Now, carbon dioxide, CO2, carbon, 2 oxygen atoms, and water, H2O, 2 hydrogen atoms and an oxygen atom. When combined properly, using the magic of sunlight and the chemistry that goes on in this leaf, actually forms sugars. One of them is fructose, and it's the sugars found in fruit. The chemical symbol for that is C6H12O6. So you see it takes carbons from the carbon dioxide, hydrogen from the water, and oxygen from one or both of those, actually just one of them. But if you look at what there is, there's only one carbon atom there, and a sugar needs 6. And it needs 12 hydrogens, and there's only 2. There are 3 oxygen atoms, which is more than any of the others, but it only needs 6 of them. So when the chemical reaction of the water and carbon dioxide coming together, it uses up pretty much everything, but there's some excess oxygen left over. And the plant considers that to be a waste product. So it gets rid of the excess oxygen from the stoma, which are little holes in its leaves, along with the water vapor and a few other things. And of course, that's a real simplification of how it works. But water and oxygen are what's given off into the air. And it's the reason we have 21% oxygen in our atmosphere, which we need. We need just about that amount in order to breathe, along with most other animals too. Even fish, it ends up in the oceans. All plants do this. Algae are a big producer of it. And they started the whole thing going at one time. Now the interesting thing is that even though the atmosphere is 21% oxygen, the trees need carbon dioxide. And in the atmosphere, it's 0.03%. That's 0.03 of 1%. It's not even a percent. And they manage with that. There's so little of it to begin with, and yet, in the atmosphere, it's able to hold our heat in. Without carbon dioxide, most of the heat radiates back into space through the atmosphere. The carbon dioxide has the ability to trap the heat, which is great. It's wonderful. And that's why we have a temperate climate in most areas. But there's so little of it to do that. A minute amount can do that. If we increase that minute amount just a little bit more, it can make a dramatic difference. 0.03 of 1% make it as warm as it is. You don't need to do much more to increase that or double it, triple it even. And that, of course, that's what's happening now. Between animals breathing out carbon dioxide and volcanoes spewing it into the atmosphere at various rates at different eras, and a few other sources, that normally is a pretty good balance. But what we've done is we've taken tens of thousands of years of this going into the ground and the carbon sort of leaching out of it and staying in the ground. We either dig it out or we pump it out of the ground. And all of that pent up carbon, when we burn it, is released back into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. This was never meant to happen, and it really never did to any great extent before. But we've released massive amounts, and since it only takes a tiny amount of carbon dioxide increase to make a dramatic effect, that's what we've done. And that's why we're here where we are. Right now, I'm beginning to see what they predicted. My kids, who are in their late 30s, will see a bit more of it, more dramatic. And my grandkids will live it. And that's what I'm concerned about. They're going to be the ones living it. And even though they might have done the same thing if they were in our shoes, they'll blame us. And they will fix it because they will have no choice. Until then, though, the old adage, I remember this from a long time ago, that when the have-nots have less, they will begin to look towards what the haves have. And that, as far as the human race, is where things are really going to change. Yeah, doomsday scenario, I know, but there's no other way of looking at it because we're deep into this now, and going full guns in the opposite direction would be great, but it'll take as long to undo it as it took to get here. But it can happen. But do we have the guts? That, said by a man who drives a V8 engine all over creation. So we're all guilty.